Disclaimer: the following program features language not suitable for all audiences, and the expressed opinions found within this program are a reflection of those who feature on the PopCulture Effect podcast. Welcome to the PopCulture Effect. I'm Rockin' Rob, and on this show I bring my closest friends together to talk about all of the news happening in our pop culture world around us.
Heyo, welcome to PopCulture Effect. I'm Subset, and I'm here with my wonderful friends, Gemini.
Hello.
And Menace. And today we have, I hope, an exciting episode for us.
Now, before I let Subset take this episode away to talk about the new Fallout show, I want to take a second to talk about my newest love in life, and that is Marvel Rivals. Overwatch will seemingly finally get some competition as Marvel Rivals looks to launch on PC, and it is a 6v6 team-based third-person shooter. This game seemingly is going to host plenty of different characters from all aspects of Marvel's history. And, you know, the only character I really care about is Spider-Man, who is apparently going to be voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, and as you know from me and my experiences, I will immediately notice that voice actor as the voice for Ben from Ben 10 Ultimate Alien Force and Omniverse. There are a total of 18 characters that will be available on launch, with characters from the Avengers like Iron Man, Spider-Man, Hulk, Black Panther, and Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy characters like Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, Mantis, and X-Men characters like Magneto, Scarlet Witch, Storm, and Magic, and other Marvel characters like Namor, the Punisher, Luna Snow, Penny Parker, which I'm really excited to see how she differentiates from Spider-Man, and Loki, which I'm really interested by because by the gameplay he's going to be a copycat of sorts. And as you know, with the longevity of the history of the Marvel universe as a whole, from the comics and the movies and the TV shows, they're going to pull out all the stops to bring all of the heavy hitters to this game through seasons and DLC, through the different seasons that they'll be hosting if this game is able to get off the ground. And the gameplay looks solid so far, with there being special moves, ultimates, much like Overwatch, but there's a distinct difference. You get to pull off team attacks that pair characters together, like Rocket Raccoon climbing on the back of Groot, or Iron Man channeling the gamma radiation from Hulk. And honestly, the best part of this whole thing is the fact that the environments are destructible, so you could just go hog wild and destroy everything. Now, with the funding from Disney, you could automatically imagine this free-to-play game is going to be stocked full of paid microtransactions, which I really hope it is for different skins, because you know they could have like infinite skins with how many different comics they've had. But yeah, the graphics look smooth and solid, and hopefully a story mode will be in effect that you can play with your friends. But from the PvP aspect, I'm looking forward to this. So that's been my kind of overall thoughts on Marvel Rivals, and I'm looking forward to seeing more as they release more footage. Now back to my friends for the Fallout episode.
And we're going to start it off with something that's been on the radar as recently, the Fallout TV show. Something that people have been waiting for due to the impact it has. Now, to start this off, what was your guys' opinion when you first heard Fallout was getting a show?
I was worried only because, you know, if you guys watch the old episodes, I recently went through the Avatar, and I was excited for that, and it f***ed me over because it followed the story, but it was all in bits and pieces, so I was worried they were kind of going to do the same thing with Fallout. But from what I've heard that you told me, they've been sticking to the lore really well, and I've seen that they've had a lot of Easter eggs from the other games and stuff too.
I did see one thing where apparently, I guess the creator whatever might have like accidentally oopied something up and indirectly retconned the entirety of New Vegas by doing so.
Not really retcon New Vegas. They're just taking one of the endings. So one of the endings from New Vegas is canon. That's like the only thing I'm going to say they retcon.
Okay, which I mean, New Vegas does have like what, 5, 6, 10 different endings?
Yeah, and a little bit of different epilogues depending on who you helped along the way.
Yeah, who you helped, what you did with their quest line, what DLCs you did, and all that.
Yeah, all that jazz.
Which, you know, when it comes to that, in the end, there is, and that's the thing, New Vegas doesn't have a true canon ending. I mean, I guess the closest...
Until now.
Yeah, I think, like, the only ending that I don't think wasn't necessarily canon was, like, if you sided with Caesar's Legion and everything like that.
Caesar.
Caesar, whatever the like the Legion.
Caesar.
Like, I don't think that was considered canon. It could be in your game if that's how you played it, but like, I don't think there was a true ending that Obsidian and Bethesda made as like canonical.
But
like,
now we do, and you want to know what ending it is? Spoilers ahead.
I do want to know.
It's the house ending.
That's what I was thinking, because I think that's what's like implied that they wanted to be the canon ending, but like again, they didn't flat out state that that's the canon ending.
So much discourse, it has been solved, but let's get into it. And I don't want to get too lost because each episode was over an hour long. If you don't count in the intro, outro, and the occasional episode that has previously on Fallout, it has almost above 50 minutes worth of screen time.
I did finally get around to watching Invincible, by the way, season 2.
Yeah! All right, we're going to talk about that off screen. But if anybody who haven't really looked at the, trailers or anything of the sorts, this whole series is following particularly 3 people. This series is we're following 3 people, right? One, Lucy, who's from the Vault 33, a unique bunch thing. This vault is connected to 2 other vaults.
Wait,
and
what?
each vault, Lucy's from a 3-way vault where Vault 33, Vault 31, and Vault 32 were all working together in a way of one vault has certain resources, the other vault has certain resources, and they all have to make do. So which leading up to trade.
Interesting. That's actually very interesting.
And by the looks of it, Vault 31 is the quote-unquote leader of this experiment.
Makes sense.
And the way, by the looks of it, the main thing they were worried about is seeing that Vault 33 had the proper resources, but not enough manpower. So they had to literally make, trade of food, stuff like that for a husband or a bride from the other vault, usually from Vault 31 or Vault 32.
Oh, so like an old dowry system in a sense?
Yeah, in a sense, but it's been going on for a good bit.
Well, yeah,
I mean, it works.
Yeah, like from the time the bombs fell to roughly the timeline of Fallout, it's like 200-ish years, give or take, depending on how far in the timeline they are, but it's roughly 200 years. Roughly.
Yeah.
So where is this in timeline?
This is the furthest in the timeline at 2297, if I remember.
2297.
Past 4 even?
Yep, this is about a little over 10 years past 4.
Really? 10 years after 4? Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Now,
I'm actually
Lucy's
surprised they
one.
went that far.
Honestly, same. I thought they were gonna do maybe a prequel thing or a side story, but now we're going straight to the head.
I thought they would have done something in between 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 is a 10-year time span. So I thought they could have gone in the time frame between 3 and 4, because I think New Vegas takes place a little bit after 3, but a couple months to a couple years. It's not that far out from 3, but the fact that it's on the other side of the country, it doesn't matter. No one's gonna know what's happening on the East Coast versus the West Coast, just because of the fact of it's almost impossible for people to travel across the coast in this.
Unless you're the Brotherhood.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that they went that far, because in between 3 and 4 would make a good way, because there's a lot of stuff that obviously canonically happens, like stuff with the Brotherhood and everything.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that it's pretty much close to 20 years after New Vegas, give or take.
And fun fact, I found out that the actress who played Lucy actually played the game.
Did she? That's actually nice when they hire or when they get people on these video game.
Well, the thing is that she didn't play them before. She started playing them after she got the role.
I mean, honestly though, I still like that though. It shows that the actor, it shows that the actor definitely has at least some form of dedication to the role that they are there for. I like when they do that.
Other than Lucy, we got a Brotherhood member, at least not an initiate, at least.
Like a paladin? I think they're called paladins if they're above initiate.
Maybe.
Is he in the suit?
It was no, he was before he became Squire. This is before Squire. They were in boot camp still, and his name is Maximus.
Then that's probably initiate, maybe. Or maybe even just before initiate. I'm not too sure how the Brotherhood ranks work, because the Brotherhoods are tools. They're tools.
It's been a hot minute. Hey, the Brotherhood faction in Appalachia is good in some sense until another faction shows up, but that's besides the point. Now Maximus, by the looks of it, even though he's part of the Brotherhood, it looks like he's
Is he the Dick Brotherhood or?
we are in California, so
Oh yeah, the Brotherhood in California is kind of like a little wonky. They're actually, I think they're, at least in New Vegas, they're very weak. They barely have a presence.
Yeah, they really, because of all the infighting, and because we already know the Brotherhood factions tend to fight each other for power, or tend to, you know, really stretch their shit thin.
Yeah, because they essentially, like, they try to take over where the American military failed.
Yeah, like they did conquer California for a while, but that didn't last long, as we saw in 3 and New Vegas.
So,
yeah, like they try to take over as the Enclave, essentially, because the Enclave is meant to be the American government, but they failed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I looked it up. So there are 2 sets for startings for the Brotherhood. There are scribes and squires. After squire is initiate, after initiate is knight, and then a senior knight, and then you become a paladin.
So they didn't even started their ranking. They were just still in boot. All right.
Okay, yeah. So he's before even initiate. He's just a like.
So he's still a
schlub.
squire right now.
Which, given the fact that we know how they treat their, you know, their newcomers, the young, because they even had young kids at this camp. So we got a little good inkling, or at least a good eye, of how living in the Brotherhood, even from birth. But for Maximus, he got picked up after his home was bombed by a nuke.
Oh, yikes!
And guess what? If people who played the game before, which it shows up within the show itself later on, if you know Shady Sands.
Oh,
well,
did they reference Shady Sands?
Oh, we went to Shady Sands.
Oh my god, that was the town in New Vegas that I think was like covered in it got bombed by, I think, the Legion, right? I think.
The thing is that well, it is spoilers, but either way, this thing's gonna be full of spoilers right away.
Game at this point, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah. Well, if you really, do you care for spoilers, Gemini?
For what, like New Vegas or for the show?
Yeah, for the show, for little certain tidbits here and there.
Not really. I mean, I do want to watch it eventually, but I mean, it took me this long to get around to watching Invincible season 2, so it's entirely possible my dumbass is gonna forget these spoilers by the time I get around to it and manage to wrestle Chris down to watch it with me. So,
well, I won't say too much, but let's just say that Shady Sands did get bombed, but it was not by the Caesar's Legion.
Interesting. So what, they retconned that? Because I think it was in the game.
I don't know if it was in the game. They just weren't sure who did it.
Well, now I gotta look it up.
But besides that, Maximus as a character seems interesting because he looks like he wants to be part of the whole Brotherhood thing, but at the same time, he doesn't seem as interested into it as he thinks he is.
You know, if I look it up, it just brings me to the show information.
Oh wait, no, I'm f***ing retarded. I am thinking of a completely different town in New Vegas.
Are you thinking of the
Megaton?
No, I'm not thinking of Megaton. Shady Sands was something else. I'm f***ing stupid. I was thinking of I'm gonna quickly look it up. You keep talking.
But other than him, Maximus, we got another character, which if you saw enough of the promotional stuff, because he's been everywhere, we got the Ghoul. Who, by the looks of it,
himself,
like, he was a celebrity before you know the bombs fell.
Oh, like
so
the
he
one
was
companion
prominent
in Dead Money.
Yeah, like he was actor, a very good actor who also who has a military background. So if you know, a lot of people might point out the main guy from Fallout 4 because he was a military guy as well.
Like Nate.
Nate, yeah. Well, for this dude, looks like he's also
don't they go by their names if you don't pick them?
Yeah, Nate and Nora are like. But anyway, quick addendum, I guess, a dum-dum. I was thinking of Camp Searchlight from New Vegas. That's what I was thinking. I got them mixed up. I was thinking of Camp Searchlight, so I'm retarded. Anyway, continue.
Now this dude, from when we first introduced, he means business. Like the first time we seen him like in action, he left an impression. Yeah, he is a bounty hunter. He was a famous bounty hunter by the looks of it during his time. He's been around for 200 years. And say what you want about the Ghoul whole thing going on with him. The actor who was playing him killed it. I don't care if he didn't look exact one for one as a ghoul from the games and whatnot. He did great. And you know,
see, this is what I don't get when people say that, because, and I brought this up to you, John Hancock from Fallout 4, my favorite ghoul of all, he looks a lot like him.
He kind of does. If Hancock had bathed in a tub of moisturizer for a little bit.
That's fair.
He's definitely you can definitely see he has radiation scarring and burns as ghouls do, but I guess he's not as decrepit bacon.
Decrepit
Early stages of being a ghoul almost.
Kind of. Which, to be fair, I understand in a game point aspect, you probably just make one or two, one, technically two, I guess, for male and female, the male and female form. Just make one texture and go with that, except for a few special ghouls, because it's easier from a game point, a game design aspect. So I can see why all the ghouls would look the same in the games, because from a game design aspect, that's a lot easier. It's going to be a lot more difficult if you have to create a texture, different skin textures for all these ghouls just to portray that, some ghouls might look like rotting bacon and others might just look like they're a little extra crispy, I guess he doesn't look that bad. He does look like a ghoul. He looks more like a recent ghoul, but it could be worse. They at least did get rid of his nose. He does look like a radiation
that's the main
victim.
joke that keeps talking, everyone talks about with him. It's he's got no nose. Yeah.
Well, yeah, ghouls don't have noses. He does look like someone who has suffered from radiation, which is what ghouls are. They're radiation zombies, essentially.
Which, fun fact, if you're gonna see it even within the first 10 minutes of watching the first episode, he was basically there when they dropped the bombs. He was active when he literally saw the first couple bombs landed in LA.
Well, that is a lot. Most of the pre-war ghouls, that is what happened. They did witness the fall.
Saw the bombs dropping, and all that. And fun fact, also within I think this was also in the first two episodes, the gun he uses is great, because I think it was connected to either Fallout 3 or New Vegas, because I know in those games there was different ammo types, right?
Action rifle that he's got.
Not even just the lever action, he barely even uses that. I'm talking about his side gun on his hip, which uses jet bullets.
Jet bullets? Interesting.
Yeah, the amount of penetration power he has per shot is insane. I'm just dude, that's sick. It's nice to see the different ammo types from those games showing up.
Were jet bullets I don't think those were a thing in the game.
There was the junk jet gun.
Well, yeah, there was the junk jet.
But there were different types of ammo, that does different things, and I think one of the ammo types were I'm just saying, I just said jet bullets because the way they look on the bullet itself, you can see the bullets he's loading in and how it sounds and how it fires.
Well,
it's a different ammo.
The only reason I say that is because jet, by saying jet bullets, that makes me think of
the
drug jet.
Yeah, because that it's when you take it, it slows your perception of time down and everything.
Fun fact, you do see a raider taking jet in the first major confrontation, which is funny. So it's interesting to see that. Yeah, literally.
I do know, with chems, I think jet is especially the one that is the most, I don't want to say problematic, but it has had the most tumultuous history due to the fact that it's been retconned a few times as to whether or not it was pre or post-war, because I think for the longest time it was considered a pre-war. I think it was considered a pre-war drug, and then I think it got changed to a post-war, and it's one where they can't really stay consistent, and it could even be the flip side, because I don't actually know. I don't remember which it is. I don't remember if it's pre or post first, and then it got changed, but I know jet is kind of like I said, not controversial, but it's definitely had changes.
Its fair share of limelight.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing on the wiki, it looks like it's a post one from Fallout 2. It says that it's made from Brahmin fume, dung fume.
Okay, so I think it might have
although first available before the Great War in a different form.
That's probably what they did with it, because I think it's a different form of it, essentially. I think it started out as pre-war, but then when they tried to remake it, they had to change it, but they still kept it as jet. I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to say now, and that may be a controversial topic, I'm okay that they didn't show a lot of wildlife in the show, because throughout the whole thing, that's a cow, so.
Okay, and?
That's like one of the first things to see is a two-headed cow. Which they
Brahmin.
don't look like the exact Brahmin from the game. They just look like a regular cow with two heads, which is not uncommon. But other than that, we saw the Yao Guai and the Gulper and the Rad Roaches.
Gulpers, really?
Yeah, and guess what? Another spoiler bit. We found out what kind of Gulpers these are, because these are based on salamanders.
Well, yeah, Gulpers are based off of salamanders when they were first introduced in Far Harbor.
Now, for these Gulpers, they're pink and they look like axolotl because they have those little fin things. But throughout the later episodes, we found out is that, well, it could be salamander based, maybe involving axolotls, but we found out these Gulpers used to be human. So they pulled a Snallygaster on us with these motherfuckers.
Are they FEV creatures?
I don't think so, but the way that they brought this up kind of feels like they were messing with it, like implied that they were messing with it.
I was gonna say, because if it has to do with human mutation, then a lot of times that is then, the forced evolutionary virus. So I mean,
this takes place, we learned about this tidbit in the other vault that's there, Vault 4. And by the looks of it, this vault had been suffering from the same experience until one of their overseers decided to stop the experiments, and that's where the Gulpers were from.
it could be an FEV experiment. I mean, FEV is honestly what because the radiation caused a decent amount of the mutations across the wasteland, but the biggest and the nastiest kinds of mutations came from FEV.
Because our scientists and those after the whole apocalypse were idiots.
Well, yeah, because the big hulking Shrek monsters. I can't remember what they're called.
Super mutants.
Yeah, super mutants. They're FEV.
Oh,
humans.
I thought you were talking about abominations.
No, the super mutants are FEV. Death claws are FEV. The centaurs are FEV. All of the big, massive mutations are from FEV.
But most of these cases are just very centered in certain areas due to that.
Yeah, because super mutants originated. Have super mutants shown up at all yet?
No, we haven't even seen super mutants till then. But the way how the show ended, we might see them. And I seeing that we are in Nevada, I do wish we get to see the Night Stalker variant.
And that's the thing. That's why I'm shocked there aren't super mutants, due to the fact that Fort Mariposa is where they originated from, especially the Night Stalkers and everything. And then, the reason they were in the Capital Wasteland is because of the one vault that dealt with FEV. There was a vault that centered around FEV research. So that's why they were out on the East Coast. But then on the West Coast, it was Fort Mariposa. So that's why I'm surprised. Yeah. But with it being 20 years after New Vegas, and then that's an extra however long after Fallout 1, Fallout 2, and everything, it could be possible that the super mutant population has dwindled. Because I think
they're popping up.
Yeah, because I think the fort and everything in the vaults that dealt with a lot of that out in the West Coast got destroyed in, I want to say Fallout 2, I think, or was it Fallout 1? I think it was Fallout 1.
Have we seen a rad scorpion?
No. A lot of rat roaches. That's the only insect that we really saw. We saw Skull, no Deathclaw yet, which I by the looks of it, they're probably saving all their stops. They're saving for the big milestones.
I hope so, because that's, if you do a Fallout TV show and you don't even have the staple creature that because when you see, when you think of Fallout, one you think
of Deathclaw.
Yeah, obviously the first thing you think of is the Vault Boy and the vaults and everything, but the main creature you think of is the Deathclaw. That's their poster boy of the creatures at the very least, next to ghouls, but of the creatures, it's Deathclaw, because that's the staple creature that when you're playing Fallout for the first time and when you start a new save and you see a Deathclaw, you're because even in New Vegas,
I think rad scorpions scare me more than deathclaws, though.
They are.
Yeah.
I don't like rad scorpions because they burrow and they snip at your toes.
Stalk you like a boxer.
Like a spider mixed with a deathclaw, or mixed with a scorpion.
I kind of also really hope, just due to the fact that they are out west, I really hope that they bring the What are they? The fly things?
The butterflies.
The cazadors.
The cat.
Like, they don't even have to fight it. I just want it to be like, a long distance shot scene where it's like maybe narration or something, or just like, to set up the scene. And it's a distance, but you see one just like, just buzzing about. Even if that's all they do with the cazadors.
Fly.
Yeah, like that's the minimum I want to see. Like, if they fight one, great, because the cazadors, but like
the bark scorpions in New Vegas. I'm trying to look at the different creatures from New Vegas because that's like the only one we have around that area, correct?
Well, of the modern because it's still old, yes, but Fallout 1 and 2 took place in California.
Mm-hmm. And one of them was in Bakersfield.
Yeah, I think that was 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's not the only game that took place in the West Coast, but it is of like the 3D of the non-isometric games.
Yeah.
It's the only one that took place in the West Coast.
Even
so
then,
far.
it's been a very long time since all that, so
I'm
it won't
definitely
be
surprised that you say that we've only seen rad roaches so far, because even just of the enemy types that I'm looking up, there are like 6 or 7 different insects. Like even just the giant ants. Like you'd think you'd see like a giant ant walking around or something.
But you also keep in mind we're in Los Angeles. By the looks of it, especially after seeing how when the bombs drop and after, dude, LA is just a desert/coast town.
I mean, it makes
Like,
sense
at that point.
It makes sense.
Like
with
there's
it
just
being the
not a lot of
apocalypse.
places to really be other than like the green area with some like some lakes and shit.
And
I'm not too surprised.
I'm sure if they do more, because I'm assuming so far in the show they've stuck to more like populated areas or like, habitable zones.
Or like populated areas where people are and just.
What about the night kid?
The night kid.
Let's get the night kid in here.
No.
But that's why, like, if that's the case of so far with the show, I'm not surprised and they haven't shown off a lot of the wildlife due to the fact that just as now I don't look outside and I see a bear walking around or deer. Granted, I live in bum nowhere, but I still live in town. So like, I don't see deers and bear walking down the street. So it kind of makes sense that even in like a Fallout universe, when you're in a populated area, even if it is the apocalypse, you're not going to really be seeing rad roaches and death claws roaming the streets. So
the rad roaches are more common, which I can get seeing like, the roaches, and roaches tend to be in places.
Or not the rad roaches, I meant the rad scorpions.
The rad scorpions.
Yeah, rad roaches are still roaches. They'll live anywhere.
Like,
I'm looking at these still. What is a lake lurk? Ew.
Oh, the lake lurks. They're like the fish people.
Yeah, fish people.
There's a lot of them that they could do just with like
the lake lurk. Out in the West Coast, the lake lurk, I could see that one being probably not showing up because unless they retcon it, which I'd hope they don't, the lake lurks were kind of like a special thing because you saw them in the East Coast and everything, and then in the West,
Colorado River.
Yeah, they're only in Lake Mead, I think, and they're actually like no one even knows what they are because of the fact they're not really supposed to be out there. I don't remember if they explained.
There are some in caves and mines too.
Yeah, but I think they really only are in Lake Mead out there. In the East Coast, they're a bit different, and they kind of like changed them up. And to be fair, they could even mention them because I think in the end, like Mire Lurk and Lake Lurks, I think it's more of like an overarching name for like mutated creatures that live in the water. Because when you look at the Lake Lurks and the Mire Lurks in 3 in New Vegas, they're like the humanoid dudes, but then in 4, they're like mutated like crabs.
From what it says on the wiki is that Mire Lurks and like the crab-looking ones are based in the East Coast, to where Lake Lurks and the more humanoid types are based on the West Coast.
Okay. Granted, a lot of my like lore knowledge with a lot of this, I am pulling a lot of my information from this one channel called Denthapple. Holy shit! If you are someone who really likes listening to lore videos about Fallout, he's got such an amazing channel. Denthapple, mwah, chef's kiss. He does such good research, and his voice, I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna I don't know where he's from. It's like an Irish or like a Scottish like rumble to it. I'm gonna stop.
Stop right there, bud.
So subset. Back to the show.
Yeah, so
I'm a
back to the
shrimple
show.
thing.
Like the set, other than like, I'm
There's one
enjoying
more.
how the set pieces and shit have been coming along through like each rendition of adaptation. It's been great.
From what I've seen, it does look good. But I do want to ask one more question while we're not too far from the topics of the like the enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When does the random alien that shows up in every Fallout show up?
Surprise. They didn't show, but I hope they do. At least as a good meme.
At least like an Easter egg. Like, even if it's just like
a fake alien that looks exactly like
Or
the
just, like-
blue-headed thing that
yeah, or just like the alien just like walking across the screen like out of the blue in the distance.
Oh, I'm not sure because it says, when did you say that this one was set?
It's further in. I think it's 2297 or 2287. I'm not too.
The alien crashed in the Mojave Wasteland in 2281 is what it says. At least for the New Vegas one.
So it's at least like 10, 20-ish years later. I don't know.
But this show did a lot of good, and I'm happy that this is in a way the new standard in adaptations. I hope
2296. Sorry, fact check it.
2296. I was off by a year. Dope. But from 8 episodes, a little over an hour, it's a banger through beginning and end. Some places it literally changes up the tempo pretty well, and in my opinion, I think the pacing was just fine. It gives enough to slow pace, letting it take its time to things going by quickly. And one thing that I enjoyed as well while going through it is the wasteland humor, because as we know, there's some dumbassery and idiocy that goes on in the wasteland, either in the Commonwealth or the Capital Wasteland, or even in the Mojave. Like, oh my god, people in this show either have lack of social skills, or just dumb, or just missing hints, and I'm all here for it.
Looking at all the Easter eggs that popped up, and I'm getting really excited and wanted to watch it now.
Me too.
And one thing I do want to bring up before we continue on is the vault. The Vault 33, Vault 32, and Vault 31, especially after what we figured out as we went on. Particularly that these vaults, the people who are in Vault 31 think they're supposed to be the leaders of controlling the other two, and you don't get that going on. We found out, this also connects to one major thing, which I'm going to hop in now. We found out who basically dropped the bombs first.
Oh, because that was like a whole she said, he said kind of thing.
Which I'm going to bring up now. This has been a discourse for a very long time. There's enough evidence saying China did it. There's not evidence saying Vault-Tec did. There's not a lot of evidence for the Enclave or like post-war like.
I don't mean to bug you, but we saw puppy dog meat.
Well, a dog meat. Remember, dog meat is just a term for all dogs, because guess what? They eat dogs. They literally call all their dogs dog meat instead of just
From
dog.
what it says is the puppy that Dr. Oh my god, what is that name? Siggy Wilzig rescues is dog meat. Like the dog meat.
That's kind of weird, because guess what? There's been multiple dog meats. One in the first one, another in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and dog meat from Fallout 4.
According to this is the Fallout 4 dog meat, which I don't understand if that's supposed to be said.
Because the dog's literally name is CX4 or some shit like that. I know it's an Institute thing, but it's the f***ing Enclave. I'm pretty sure they're...
Oh, actually, that's not... These games are actually set really a lot closer together than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Like-
3 and New Vegas are only like a couple months to at most like 2 years apart.
New Vegas is only 6 years before 4.
Yeah. Oh, it's only 6?
Yeah, it's in 87.
Okay, yeah, that's why I
2287.
figured. And then 3 and 4 are 10 years apart, because yeah, you see like Kid McCready in 3, and then he shows up in 4 as like a 20-something-year-old.
Companion.
What? Yeah, a
companion.
20-something-year-old fine-ass companion.
Okay. All right, that's enough. We already went through with the Irish stuff. Calm down.
We don't get to see an Assaultron walking around.
No, that would be way too much power.
What do you mean?
People are degenerates.
Assaultrons are great.
one, I know they're great, but the moment we see a live action Assaultron, it's over. It's donezo.
Oh yeah,
But-
all the ones we apparently have seen in the show are broken.
Metal
Yeah.
titties.
Damn
We
sure.
figured out who essentially dropped the bombs, and is a theory which had a lot more ground than the others, and it was basically Vault-Tec and the other companies, Romco, West Tech, and another company, I can't remember who was there, but they all basically collaborated one another to basically push forward their own products, along with eliminating their competitors, and also good insight of how Vault Tech secure their finances. Because we did know, it's in lore, that they were in financial straits, so they decided to start selling their vaults to other companies so they can do whatever they want.
So it was corporate America.
Yep, and when you hear the talking going on with them, these started certain names they started mouthing off, like they gave them the freedom to do their own experiments if they feel interested enough. And some of the things that some of the other competitors were naming off were naming certain experiments that we know from like the other vaults.
Honestly, because I'm not surprised that that's the case, because like they show a lot of how pre-war America was. I mean, hell, you even get a tiny glimpse of it in the beginning of Fallout 4. But like they give you like tidbits, and you can glean just how like heavily ingrained America had become with like corporatism and everything, and how like awful it was, and how the economy was shit, and like everyone was controlled by the corporations, totally like how it is right now. Anyway, my throat, wow.
But it's weird because there was this dystopian, not like dystopian, but there was like this cult like aspect to it where everybody was just happy though, no matter what.
Yeah, because like that's how it was, almost like a dystopian utopian cult of America and everything. One thing that I really want for the future of Fallout, like I know the whole premise of it is post-apocalyptic nuclear America, but I really want to see other countries, how they fared, because apparently they've done shit. Because like in 3 there is Colin Moriarty, I don't know his last name, but I think he's a Scottish immigrant, and he was from like nuclear Europe, like the wasteland of Europe. I would really like to see how these other countries look like after the bombs fell and everything. That's something that I would like to see for the future of Fallout. Will we see it? I don't know, but it's, even if it's like in like a comic format or something, I'd like to see it.
I am still going through the Easter eggs, and apparently you get to meet the inventor of Codsworth.
Oh, whoa, not the inventor. You meet the voice, the same
The voice of Codsworth.
Yeah,
that's
basically
cool.
he was an actor by the same name who basically sold his voice for the robots, so he can be relevant during the time, because Hollywood was going through a big shift during that, before the nukes fell. There was a big protest similar to how now to go against the robotics and how they were slowly changing the entertainment industry. So Codsworth was one of the few people who, he didn't like it, but he knew he had to do it to keep himself relevant.
Time is now, old man.
Yeah, the future. And fun fact, he was actually a good friend of a certain main character, the Ghoul, before he became the Ghoul. They were friends. And they talked a lot by the sounds of it.
And I know a lot of people, or at least people that were watching that know Fallout and that are kind of sticking with us on the lore. As you know, most vaults are done with experiments, like Subset said.
Some aren't, some do.
I do have some of the ones that are mentioned in the show. We got Vault 27, which was deliberately overcrowded. Vault 51, which had an AI overseer. Vault 87 was used to create the super mutants. Vault 106 had psychotropic drugs pumped into its air supply. And Vault 29...
Fun fact, that was referenced during the talk.
Vault 69. That was, I think... was that the one where it was like one dude and like 100 women?
Yeah.
Or 99 women?
Yeah. And the other one, I think Vault 68.
Was like one woman and like 99 dudes. The most f***ed up vault, I don't remember the number for it, but it was one dude and a box of puppets.
Yeah, and he basically went insane.
Yeah.
Laughed and went on a killing spree.
That one was a f***ed up one.
The last one was Vault 29 was inhabited by only children, the parents separated and sent elsewhere.
Or...
That sounds similar to the Malden one in 4. I don't remember what the number for that was. They're trying to make like super soldiers.
We do know...
My favorite vault is the vault of the clone of the...
Gary!
Gary. There's also the vault where it was just basically kids, and they had a bunch of weapons, and they had to make do what they got, and led to a lot of infighting, which led to the gunners existing.
I think that's the one that I was just referencing from 4. The one in like Malden Middle School. It was like a human genome project that they were trying to perfect the human genome. So they were like, oh, we're gonna build this under the school, and if your kid goes to the school, you get a free spot in the vault, your whole family. And then they were like, haha, surprise, it's only for the kids. Anyone who's over 18 gets f***ing murked. Haha.
Yeah.
And then,
so
yeah,
I
it's
know
pretty
we've been
much like-
talking about this for a good
We're going
while.
to send you elsewhere, aka that ditch we just dug over there.
Yeah.
I know we've been going with this for a while, so I'm gonna say this last tidbit before we continue on is specifically about the 3 vaults that were all connected, and we found out throughout the show and through little hints, and then later on when they explicitly told you these vaults, specifically Vault 31, were made specifically for basically the rich and important people as normal. But the only difference is that this was Vault Tech's, I think, at least one of their main headquarters, because the people who were in Vault 31 were all people from the past who were doing research during this time, who either paid lots of money to seal their spot or were important enough to be part of this, because they were all they pull a Fallout 4 and they were all in cryostasis, and slowly when they need somebody to, to marry off, they just wake one of them, and they basically come from when they first got in, and now they're back living again while pretending to be a fellow vault dweller from 200 years. But it was actually still the same people who, fun fact, dropped the bomb and just trying to live a normal life. And when it's time for Reclamation Day, the whole Fallout 76 bullshit, they will go out. But by the sounds of it, you don't have intentions of going out like most vaults. They're just gonna live out in there until they have enough people, enough workforce, enough food to really get going. And it didn't even that storyline, that plot line hasn't even went full force. It just went to the peak before everything ended, and it's nuts.
Oh, so 32 literally just didn't have enough supplies on purpose.
Yeah, and if you do need to know, Vault 32 didn't really last long because the whole thing got because by the looks of it, they figured out the truth of why they were all there.
Okay, so I'm reading this and I'm seeing how you're explaining it. So Vault 33 is like their idyllic scenario. Vault 32, they intentionally didn't give them enough crops and stuff, and they would starve from hunger. And Vault 31 is essentially replacement bodies for anybody in Vault 33.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Or no, when Vault 33 requires a new overseer is all it says.
Overseer, or when they do need like extra people, because there's other people who weren't overseer in the show, but they were from Vault 31. But if I'm gonna rate the show, I'm gonna say an 8 out of 10. And there's the only reason why it's an 8 out of 10 because there wasn't more. There just wasn't more.
It's too early to give it a full rating yet.
Yeah,
it's fair. And one last thing for those that are interested. Spoiler, but the final shot of the final episode shows the New Vegas skyline with the Lucky 33 Resort and Casino, or Lucky 38 Resort and Casino.
Yeah, in the very ending, we see the strip. That's why a lot of people were going through the house ending.
Yeah, but there was also the Yes Man, and everything was completely fine with the strip.
Yeah, I know. But, people want Mr. House, seeing that they got House, hosted and scripted. We saw Mr. House in that meeting with all the companies.
He's in the show.
Remember, House was in charge of Romco.
That's right, he was.
There's just so much going in. And we also, the Pyro Armor, I'm just letting you know, I know from like little snippets you saw, pretty good. Pyro Armor, pretty good. Also, we also figured out Pyro Armor is the bitch to move around in.
I'm not surprised.
No matter what model it is, it seems. Even the T60s.
I was wondering because it looks like an older model. It's definitely not the X.
Yeah, no, it's not that. The X01, that was a experimental Power Armor that was only available in very certain places, because the only one available were usually prototypes.
These are just 68s, right?
Yeah, T60s. These are T60s.
Now, before we get into the end of this episode, seemingly with the length of the Fallout conversation, I wanted to round out this video with just one more smaller talking point, and that's going to be the recent exposure that the Cartoon Network Stairwell has gotten over the past couple weeks. Now, Cartoon Network Studio was dissolved, and honestly, the building that once comprised this great legendary studio is most likely being remodeled and redesigned. However, for those of you that love when the internet can take a piece of history in the real world and put it online, you'll be happy to find out that Cartoon Network has put out a website link that allows you to take an in-depth look into their infamous Stairwell. And there is a plethora of drawings and references that have been put there by the original artist and crew that worked at Cartoon Network. Now, I'm not going to spoil any of the drawings or the characters that you could find there because I honestly just want to implore everybody to go look into this Stairwell, see what you can find, and this is just a perfect example of how a company can preserve this really cool piece of history in a way where their fans can enjoy it for the rest of time. Anyways, that's been me telling you about the Cartoon Network Stairwell, and now it is time to end this episode. Take it away, guys.
That is going to be it from us. I would like to thank everybody who was here today. Subset, thank you.
Heyo.
And Trin, thank you for being here.
A pleasure as always.
And from all of us at the PopCulture Effect, make sure to, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening to us on CJSW, make sure to go check the other wonderful podcast radio stations and other such things that we got over there. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so
How was that for time?